Okay, Andrew, I think we'll get going just in the essence of time, if that's okay with everyone.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. So thanks, Andrew. Michelle Lajeunesse, I am the Senior Vice President of Government Relations and Policy. Have the pleasure of working with Andrew Walker and Nevin French, who's also joining us today. And just want to point out that we are recording today's session for the purpose of sharing with our community outreach partners. And as Andrew said, thank you so much for joining us today. We know it's a difficult time, so I do hope that we find you well and your family well as we join each other today to talk about Canada's digital marketplace powered by TechNation. So today we want to cover off the digital marketplace model, the true collaboration with government. We want to talk about where we are at with the digital marketplace today, talk a little bit about our event series, including our flagship event that's going to take place on November 19th virtually, and then allow for questions and input. But please don't, while we make our presentation today, please don't let that stop you from putting questions in the chat, and we'll address those as we go through today's presentation. So again, thank you for joining us. I want to start first and foremost by saying that one of the big things as we started this digital marketplace back in March of this year, at the time the digital marketplace was to respond to the COVID pandemic, especially as jurisdictions were being obviously having outreach by many of you and your colleagues across this country to support the response needed to respond to COVID. As the digital marketplace evolved, it's been ever so important that we are not representative of only TechNation, but representative of this country in terms of the tech sector. So you as a community outreach partner and as our TechNation members are critical to the representation that we've been able to present to, in this case, the initial pilot with Shared Services Canada. So I just want to start by saying that and thank you very much. Difficult times for our sector, but I will say, and I can say that as late as yesterday, Minister Joyce Murray on a webinar that our President and CEO participated on with Hill and Knowlton indicated how probably our tech sector is the most important sector right now to help address the COVID response and, of course, the economic recovery that we will hopefully be in a short matter of time. So if we can just go to the next slide, I'd like to share with you a little bit about the vision that TechNation has around the digital marketplace. We call it the model, but it really is procurement as a national competitive advantage. We have issued an innovation adoption program proposal, which has been shared with Minister Murray, Minister Anand, Minister Eng, Minister Baines. It was also shared with Minister Morneau before his departure, and will be shared with Minister Freeland as she has stepped in as the Minister of Finance. The innovation adoption program really is based on the premise that the government's purchasing power is probably the best lever for us in terms of economic recovery as a nation. We know we have fallen, unfortunately, very far behind what we used to be in terms of a nation globally from a technology standpoint. And as our president and CEO has said on numerous occasions, we don't have an innovation problem, we have an innovation adoption problem. And so the digital marketplace is TechNation's way of representing the tech sector in terms of an approach that we believe will help assist us in that economic recovery, supporting both multinationals, but also supporting our small and medium-sized enterprises here in Canada. The model that's currently on display right now on the screen really talks about, again, government procurement as an economic lever on the left. The pilot procurements that we've been working on with Shared Services Canada, we're very pleased and honored to be able to participate as a collaboration with SSC, again on the tech sector's behalf. In fact, today, the third pilot procurement has just been issued on buy and sell. We'll be sending out information on that shortly. Government at all levels, really, it's not just about the federal level. We have had conversations with municipalities and provinces as well around challenge-based procurement. Not necessarily the approach that we need to take for all procurements. We know there are some that are enterprise-wide that don't necessarily fit within the challenge-based procurement, but organizations like Shared Services Canada have even started creating a tool to help with that assessment. What makes the most sense in terms of a solicitation approach? And then we also have our small and medium-sized enterprise, medium-sized enterprise working group as well with shared, here at TechNation, again, to help inform us and represent our TechNation members as best possible. Sorry, I've just lost the presentation there. I'm not sure if we can bring it back up. And I'm not sure if that's on my end. So let me just talk a little bit further too about what supports us in terms of our digital marketplace as that presentation gets brought back up. The other thing that's really critical is that, again, we don't do this alone. We would never plan to do this alone. So hence why we have engaged with over 15 community outreach partners and their membership. And it's really critical for their membership to have an opportunity to showcase their innovation through the digital marketplace, have the opportunity to join in discussions that we're having with jurisdictions, and also for our national partners. So one of the things too that we have done is we have reached out to and are engaging what we call the Big 10 in terms of national partners that are sponsoring and supporting this digital marketplace and the efforts that we're undertaking in terms of procurement modernization on behalf of the tech sector and, of course, our federal government to start, and in discussions as well with provinces and municipalities. The other side of the coin, before I center and come back to the middle again, is that big tech floats all boats. So really important that big business, who are some of our large multinational partners, and some of them are also Canadian success stories like CGI, are also there and have their own programs, and see it as very important to support our efforts in order to support small and medium-sized enterprises in this country, which really are the foundation of our country's success and, of course, crucial for economic recovery. So we do want to support the growth of scale-ups. We want to support our small and medium-sized enterprises. It's interesting when you look at it in our sector that we have a lot of incubators that do a lot for startups, and we have a lot of multinationals. But in between, we saw a real void, and so our President and CEO Angela Mondu, along with our team, have taken the focus to ensure that we partner with community outreach, as well as we also partner with large multinationals to support those small and medium-sized enterprises and scale-ups. The core components of the digital marketplace are the dashboard, our national outreach, and then our programs. So the dashboard being the ability for one, as a company registers and showcases its innovative solutions, then for public and private sector procurement officials and others to be able to do a search on specific technology areas, be it on big data, artificial intelligence, et cetera, to see, just the great innovation that's happening across this country. We're really, really happy with that. It also enables business to business collaboration. So when we talk about, and in fact, the last solicitation that came out, the pilot solicitation that came out from the federal, also allowed for and encouraged joint ventures. So that's really crucial too for our small and medium-sized enterprises. And then, of course, also, it's important that we talk about a customized procurement capability. So, there is the ability for the federal government, just speaking to the federal government at this time, they have the ability to do what we call set-asides, right? So we are doing a lot in terms of also looking at, and you'll see that in the national outreach section, underrepresented groups. So we have the ability to partner with our government colleagues around their ability to set aside on Aboriginal, set aside on female-led enterprises, et cetera. Again, underrepresented groups. And then on programs, of course, we've had the opportunity through this pilot collaboration with Shared Services Canada, an agreement that was struck between our president and CEO, Angela Mondu, and the president of Shared Services, Paul Glover, to provide industry feedback to government, not just to provide the feedback, to actually have it acted upon. And I'll share a little bit of that in the next slide. We've also had industry consultations and focus groups in the past, and we are pushing for that. In fact, I just had a conversation again today with Treasury Board of Canada that we do more talking with, and we, do a lot more of that in advance of solicitations hitting the street. It's not always necessarily preferential for the agencies like Treasury Board or Shared Services to be an edict coming down to their departments and agencies. They really do want to look at it as a collaborative effort. And then innovation exchange. Of course, that was really where this started. The digital marketplace was our ability to share and showcase the innovative tech solutions that are already in existence in our country. We have been pushing our federal government to buy, not build, wherever possible. With that helps obviously encourage and help with our economic recovery and really our economic situation and advancement as a nation. And of course, it also, I guess it also, really from the standpoint of understanding that we do some really great things in Canada, but Canadians, we tend to be a little bit shy in terms of, pounding our chest and saying, hey, look at what we're doing. So this digital marketplace affords us that ability. So if I can just, I'm not sure if there's any questions. As I said, I really do want to encourage you to share those in the chat, but maybe if we can go to the next slide, I can talk a little bit more about where we're at to date on our digital marketplace, our efforts around the partnerships that we've struck with many of you on the call today, and as well as with the national partners that we've signed up to support the digital marketplace. And then I want to talk a little bit more about the approach to public-private engagement and the success there. As of today, that number 281 is already at 291 as of yesterday, so it could have grown since then. And that's representative, as you can see, it's pan-Canadian representation of our member companies on the digital marketplace, which, by the way, you don't need to be a TechNation member to join. You don't have to sign up for an exorbitant cost. It's free. And it takes you a few minutes really to showcase your company, share information around your innovative solutions, share information about customer references, talk about the solution and how it can necessarily benefit other public sector jurisdictions, whether it be at the federal, provincial, or municipal level. And again, also showcase yourself so that other businesses might want to partner on those, those competitive solicitations that are out there. You can see our community outreach partners are many, and again, cannot thank you enough in terms of signing up to be a community outreach partner and to share this information, this critical information, and the opportunity that we're offering right now to your members. National partners is growing. We are shooting for our Big 10. I think the only one that's missing right now that's just in the hopper is KPMG, but you can see that quite representative and quite diverse too as well, because we've got representation from telcos through to the CIO Strategy Council, which is really an association representative of the CIOs across Canada, both private and public. CGI, great Canadian success story. IBM, obviously a multinational who's just made a really interesting announcement recently. Microsoft continues to make announcements and investments in Canada. Moneris being a more on the payments side and quite interesting in terms of the industry engagement they've done recently and some of their stats that we've been talking to them about. And Rogers, huge in the telco space and obviously a big player in broadband in Canada. And then, of course, KPMG, who's not listed right now, but is just joining us, and they too being in line with CGI, a huge services house built in Canada, built in Quebec back in the 70s. So a great story. The objective, I guess, for the digital marketplace I can share with you is threefold. One is for us to, obviously allow Canadian tech organizations, large and small, to showcase their innovative solutions. Two is to provide an opportunity for public and private sector officials, procurement officers, and otherwise to do a search on those great technology solutions across Canada. And third is to provide that B2B, that business to business opportunity to partner on solicitations. On the right-hand side is a good representation of the success we've had to date with Shared Services Canada. The pilot has been in existence since, as I said, May, when the agreement was struck between TechNation and Shared Services Canada. We've had to date weekly calls with SSC to provide feedback, to discuss the solicitations that are upcoming to the best that they can. As you can appreciate, they can't give us, an advantage over other organizations, and they don't. They do understand and they do appreciate that we are pan-Canadian represented, again, because of your partnerships with us. Two pilot solicitations, well, that will be updated as of tomorrow to say 3. There is now a third on the street. Again, it's just been posted on Buy and Sell. They are also looking in that to assess the agile procurement approach in terms of its applicability and whether or not it does in fact fit this solicitation. They will make adjustments on the fly based on our feedback and TechNation or technology, the tech sector as a whole. We've had 6 feedback webinars. I think we had over 40 participants on that. And you can see some of the tangible results, which is not an all-inclusive list, but we were able to shift some timeframes where it didn't make sense. It was cutting a little too close or too short members and the tech sector as a whole. Clarity and refinement. So they've been looking for refinement on their requirements. So they didn't go into this as much as we've seen in the past where governments come to the table with a sense of what they thought were the requirements, and they didn't solicit consultation. In this instance, they are soliciting consultation, and it is true consultation. This is what we're thinking we need. Tell us what we really should be looking at, etc. Inclusion and diversity, as I mentioned earlier, they have been looking at underrepresented groups, and they are planning on set-asides. Again, the objective really here is for SSC and TechNation to see if the combination of our digital marketplace, which represents our tech sector and our tech members, and the simplified submission process, which they call basically their PP 3.0, their public procurement approach, could improve SME's access to SSC's procurements. It's not to say that they aren't also focused on multinationals who've also been challenged in other ways in terms of procurement within the federal government, but they are really wanted to ensure that small and medium-sized enterprises have an opportunity. So I'm going to stop there just to see if there's any questions right now. Charlotte or Andrew, can you just let me know, have we had any questions from attendees today? Not yet?
No, nothing yet.
Okay, that's good. Then we're obviously explaining it really well is what I'm going to assume. So let me just turn to the last slide that I wanted to speak to today before Andrew gets into a bit of a demo of the digital marketplace for those that are either somewhat familiar or not familiar at all with the digital marketplace. Part of supporting the efforts we have around the digital marketplace is also to get the message out there in terms of an event series, one launch event. As you can appreciate, just like you, we've been sitting with bated breath as to, are we going to have a fall election? Are we not going to have a fall election? So we chose to start with a flagship event, 2.5 hours on November 19th, focused really at that time about where government and business, big business, small business, can come together to impact Canada's prosperity. We will focus on government's plan to stimulate the economy and leverage purchasing power, talk about procurement modernization, showcasing Canadian innovation, as well as big business supply chains, and then talk about a spirit of a business challenge-based procurement for innovation that we would like to showcase in February. The February event, which is currently slated for February 25th, it will be a fulsome, and we really hope to be a live event, God willing, fingers crossed, whereby we will do more of a focus on business to business and business to gov. So really looking at our SME community, partnering SMEs and scale ups with large corporations, tech prosperity in the post-pandemic environment. We really do hope, I'm sure just like you, to be in a post-pandemic environment by then. The whole large enterprise idea of presenting to SMEs and how they can partner together, showcasing our SMEs through our digital marketplace members, again at 291 now and counting. And then again, talking about agile procurement and government modernization, which is not just happening at the federal government level. Again, I really need to give kudos. The announcement by Minister Bethlen Falvey this week about the government roadmap, Ontario onwards, and the work that's being done all across our country, BC, Ontario, Alberta, Nova Scotia. I mean, provinces are doing it. We just want to make sure that we're doing it pan-Canadian. So Andrew, I think at this stage, I'm going to stop and let you do a little bit of a demo for our attendees. And again, encourage any questions anyone has to do so in the chat, and we'll address those before we close today. Thank you.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm just going to open this up here. Let's see. Okay, so I should start by saying I apologize if earlier on in the presentation the slides went away for a moment. I lost power all of a sudden, so we're just having lots of fun today with the remote environment. But all the same, I'm glad to be back here. This here is, of course, technationportal.ca, where you or some of your member companies may have already visited to sign up to be part of the digital marketplace. And or to look up and see what innovative tech solutions are out there. And before I sort of go through the marketplace itself, we have our banner at the top here, which alludes to the event that Michelle mentioned, which will be happening on November 19th, our inaugural flagship event. And I will also mention that digital marketplace members, so that includes folks who are on this call and anyone who signs up, as Michelle said, for free, will have a discounted price to come to that event. So we very much encourage you to take advantage of that code. It was sent out yesterday and will be sent out in our regular emails to come. So please keep an eye open for that. And for more information on that, please don't hesitate to contact myself or Michelle or any of us here at Tech Nation. But onto the portal itself. We have the two buttons here, and so if you have signed up already, you likely clicked on this first button, I'm looking to showcase my company, and when you click through to that page, you'll see a number of questions that help inform what our marketplace looks like when it comes to what your company does, any customer referrals or demonstration videos, your social media handles and website contact person, any certifications you might have, perhaps from, say, CAMSC, with regards to being a minority-led, women-led, and Indigenous-led, whatever it may be, organization. So all of that information would bring together there. And also through that page, you can check out our updates page where we post the upcoming and ongoing solicitations, such as the one that was just posted today, our pilot solicitation with SSC. And as we continue to build relationships with other governments, we'll add to that updates page there. But for today's purpose, I'm looking for an innovative tech solution. We'll click through to this page, which is our effectively homepage for the digital marketplace. And as you can see here, we have lots of information readily available from the outset. So we have our entire list of companies here on the right-hand side, which you can click and see more information about a particular company, should you be interested to find out about them. We also list here where in Canada, they have the map right in the middle here, or beyond perhaps, those companies are from, as well as their industries that they've specified in their registration and the specializations they represent. At the top, if you were to type in, say, for example, and you might be able to see the drop-down list that I've already played with this morning, you're looking for a payment solution for sake of argument. If we type in payment and then click through, you can see that right away we have a list of companies that have designated themselves as providing a payment solution that come up. So we have the 9 from our 295 now as of today companies that appear here with specifications as to where in the country they are. If you click through to a particular company, you'll go to their page. You can see even in more detail. Global Skills Hub happens to be the one I'm picking on today, but here they are in downtown Toronto, and we can click through to see all the information you might need there. So you can search multiple items here. You can search perhaps your province or city that you are hoping to work with, because I know that a lot of our community outreach partners have a jurisdiction that they're particularly interested in representing, or that's their mandate. So that's all available to you here. And the idea with this marketplace is to make sure that procurement officers, be they in the public sector, somebody who works at SSC or in any of the provinces or municipalities across the country, or one of our business leaders who is looking to put together a joint venture and needs a solution in, say, a payment solution in the environment, they can come to this page and say, hey, I'm looking for this. Where can I find it? Here's a list of different companies and how to contact them, perhaps a demonstration video on what those companies do, whatever the information is that you're looking for there. And so one of the things that we always want to hear from our community outreach partners about, and really all of our digital marketplace members about, is how we can continue to improve this page. It's an iterative process. We want to know what information we want to include here and how we can make sure that it's providing all of the information that you might need as you're looking to take advantage of those companies. But perhaps I'll leave it there. That's a broad strokes idea of what the digital marketplace does and looks like. And I'm happy to walk through and provide any more information on this. I will also, as a concluding point, remind all the companies on this call to make sure that you have filled in all of the most up-to-date questions. As I say, we're constantly adding and making sure that all the information that is useful to both the procurement officers and the public sector side and all of our business members as well. We're wanting to have the most useful information there. So we're asking you questions on the registration page and on the company profile pages. So make sure you check in. You can see the updates, ongoing solicitations, but you can also provide the most up-to-date information that your company on your company's solutions. With that, I'll turn back to you, Michelle, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. Thanks for that. And as Andrew says, like, get familiar with the actual Technation digital marketplace. It is your ability to showcase your organization, to also ensure that, you know, governments at all jurisdictional levels are having access to what you're up to the solutions that you provide. There's a lot of fields, as Andrew indicated, that have been added, including your ability to indicate if you're a minority, underrepresented group, whether it be female-led, whether it be Aboriginal, etc. As I said, the federal government itself is looking at set-asides, and I know that other jurisdictions are doing the same. So with that, I'll just see if we have any questions coming in. Feel free to, as well, to take yourself off mute if you'd like, and ask and pose the question to us. Yeah, so I see there's one question about success stories. So it's really a matter of timing right now. Thank you for that question. The issue, not an issue, I guess, it's just that we have to be respectful of, for example, Shared Services Canada's pilot number 1 closed. It has yet to announce the successful bidders, but those will indicate to us, what the success has been to date on that. The other thing too, though, is, as Charlotte has posted in terms of the event that's coming up on November 19th, one of the panels that we'll be having is a discussion with the lead for the Center of Expertise for Agile Procurement, who is Guylaine Carrière from Shared Services Canada, will join one of our large firms and one of our small, medium-sized enterprises that participated in the solicitation to talk a little bit further about the success to date, what the lessons have been that are learned. And I will, I can definitely attest for, in terms of our cadence calls with SSC, that they are learning as they go along and they are adjusting accordingly. So it's not, as I said, some of the experience that many of our, members have had in the past as procurement has been and always was the same old, and it was a real pain point for us. In this instance, it's really, they are taking best practices or creating best practices, I would argue, as they go along. So we should have an indication of that before November 19th, but we'll have a more fulsome discussion on that at that time.
Michelle, if I may, I think it also, this is Andrew here, it's also worth noting just the uptake that we've seen across the country, and we are so grateful to you, our community outreach partners, for playing such an important role in that process. But I mean, we started this process of adding members to the digital marketplace with just over 100 or so members on the digital marketplace, and we are now approaching 300 in a short period of time. So, you know, it really is a testament to how the tech sector across the country is coming together to say we want to have one voice. We want to make sure that we're in one spot and we can show off all of the amazing things that we do. And then we can affect change and in innovating how procurement processes work with the public sector, making sure that the B2B opportunities are continuing to grow. So I think this is just the start. We're just starting to scratch and see what the potential is out there. And we're finding that absolutely we're getting great feedback from everyone so far, but certainly we'll continue to grow and it's an exciting future for us here.
So I see one of the, thanks, Andrew, and I really appreciate that. You're right. Yeah, we were at about 136 when we started. And I can also say that we've had the opportunity to review a presentation that Shared Services Canada executive management are making to Minister Joyce Murray, their minister, next week regarding the success of this collaboration to date. And Andrew's absolutely right. The uptake on the participation, Shared Services Canada was over the moon, and they're actually now promoting this type of a collaborative approach with industry as a best practice and pushing to have their fellow colleagues across the government of Canada use this approach. I see there is a question about, do you vet the companies before they go on the portal? No, we do not. The one principle, though, that we do ask is that you are procurement ready. In other words, you have a solution that is procurement ready in order to register your company on the website. So we leave it with our industry tech our industry tech companies to ensure that they do have a solution or solutions that are procurement ready in order to register themselves. It's only for your best interest to do so in order for a jurisdiction who's searching, be it on artificial intelligence, big data, et cetera, that you do have the ability to actually have a jurisdiction procure your solution. So that is the only that we do indicate, is that you should be procurement ready. I just do want to remind you that Charlotte, my colleague Charlotte, has indicated that just to click here on the chat in terms of the November 19th event, there is a early bird registration right now that you can take advantage of. I do encourage you to do so and participate in that. And we'll have more details on the upcoming speakers. We will have speakers both from the government level, the small, medium-sized enterprises, as well as big business. We do have what we call a digital marketplace advisory council that is for members of those national partners. They are here and continue to be here to support TechNation and to support the efforts that we are making around our small and medium-sized enterprises too. So that's really important to note. I also want to recognize too that I think on today's call, we also have partners that represent our tech sector in different ways as well. As I said, our outreach partners, you all have your own memberships. Some of them are the same members, and I thank you, because not only what we're doing here today with the digital marketplace, but what we do every day, especially amidst COVID, and supporting our members is really critical. So just want to make sure that you're aware that you're part of a larger ecosystem, and we're all part of this ecosystem. The only way we're going to get those numbers back up is for us to work together. And again, like I said, I had a good call today with Treasury Board Canada. We continue to have conversations, including, Minister Bethlen Falvey, the City of Toronto, other jurisdictions, municipalities, Jamie Boyd in BC, about just how important it is for us to come together before we fall too much further behind. Not sure if there's any other questions today. Feel free, please, just to reach out to myself, to Andrew Walker, in terms of any other questions you might have around the digital marketplace. We are hosting another webinar, similar, we'll do the same. We'll cover it off next Tuesday for those that were not able to make it. So just want to make sure that you're aware that you'll get this recording. We'll share this recording across our community outreach partners. We have shared through an outreach from my colleague Denise Short, as well as Angela Mondu, to our national partners in terms of collateral that you have to promote the digital marketplace, to promote the work we're doing around procurement modernization, to participate in that. And most importantly, obviously, is to showcase your innovative solutions as those apply to you on the call today. So I think with that, Andrew, Charlotte, I want to thank you both for supporting today's webinar. All of you who've joined us here today, including my colleagues across Tech Nation who are participating as well. Please note that Charlotte's just put in the chat next week's webinar, should you wish to attend that or promote it to some of your colleagues and members. And with that, I will wish you a wonderful day. Please stay well and know that we're here for your best interests. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Michelle.